Good morning, everybody. I say good morning uh, because it is morning here, but it's not morning in the
No, it's good
Netherlands,
afternoon in the Netherlands.
where I'm with Vivian Acquah right now, and we're going to jump in very shortly. But it's Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. It's July 7th, because meaning this interview will be up pretty quickly. So it's July 7th. I almost didn't make it here last night. We had some terrible storms in New Jersey and no power, and it wasn't fun, but we're here. The title of this, which will help me segue into a little bit of a monologue, Vivian Acquah, live from the Netherlands, because that's where she is now,
Mhm.
where she lives. The Power of Working Mothers, Inclusive Workplace Wellness Advocate. And there's an awful lot to unpack. And for me to be a good journalist and to get to know more about Vivian, I dropped in yesterday on her Let's Humanize the Workplace panel, where she had these amazing panelists, basically from all over the world, assembled discussing humanizing the workplace and women's issues. And my credential to being here a bit is the fact that I've been on advocacy and outreach of the Women's Health Institute at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Middle School now for 3 years. And I'm very involved, and I think about the whole topic of women's health initiative and all its ancillary parts. Vivian and I, when we talked last week, I told her about having watched a documentary, LFG, about the American women's football, really soccer. We call it soccer, you call it.
Football.
But these are some of the most famous athletes in the world
Yeah,
competing,
true.
and that's all I watched for years when I were in the World Cup. And it blew my mind that the men were making like 10 times more than the women, and it's all part of things that Vivian and I will in some small way discuss. And also I want to remind everybody that in September, and I'll be posting enough of this, Vivian will be hosting a worldwide summit dealing with these issues, and you'll get plenty of information from me regarding that. I just took a little peek at some of the 75 or 80 or more speakers that will be part of this summit. And it's so important to understand,
Mhm.
to feel. So
Yeah.
my monologue has now officially come to a close. And I am so thrilled. And by the way, Vivian and I, through the magic of social media, we met, and it wasn't that long ago.
No, true.
It was rather recent. We met, and boom, 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 and we're Zooming, and the need to do this. So I've said enough now, Vivian. What a pleasure to introduce you. So do a little bio, and then we'll kind of jump into things that you're about.
Yeah, so my name is Vivian Acquah and I'm based in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Let's do my bio a little bit different because I am normally being invited to put out fires when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And how handy is my last name, which means water. But I am more a person who wants to work, who's working with companies who want to prevent fires, DEI fires from happening. So what I'm referring to is the part where people are feeling excluded in the workplace. Where I'm referring to is that companies feel challenged hiring talent that are diverse, hiring people or getting a different audience to their scope so that they can tap into a different audience as clients as well. And I'm supporting those clients to be bigger, to be better, but also to be more inclusive. And I'm honored to be here today with you, Captain.
Wow, and I'm honored to be here with you. So that's a perfect honoring society.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so I guess, what is, quote, your story?
My story, I'm going to share the summarized version of that. So I'm now 40. I don't look my age, definitely don't look my age, but I have a 20-year career where after studying business economics, I ended up becoming a financial consultant, which I have been doing for quite a while. But after a while, I have this nerdy, IT-y, geeky side of me, also hence the robot, where I wanted to do something with finance, but also combine it with IT. So I crossed over to the other side, and by being a bridge builder between finance and IT. And fast forward towards 2013, in the work that I do as a consultant, I see different kitchens. And I also have to share this warning with your audience that I might be talking about food. I'm not responsible for your appetite. I'm not responsible for triggering your hangry side. That's not upon me. So know that I will be talking about food. So sometimes you, as a consultant, I see different kitchens. I see kitchens that have the right ingredients, but don't know how to prepare a meal. I see kitchens where they know how to prepare a meal, but don't have the right ingredients as well. And I see kitchens where they are investing in good chefs, investing in good ingredients, and investing in good equipment. That's what the work that I'm doing right now. And when it comes to something that happened to me in 2013 that shifted my focus, that shifted everything to what I'm doing right now, is I found out on the 1st of January that I was pregnant. 5 weeks later, I shared that with my managers saying that I am pregnant. Know that I'm working at a very small company, 30 people, 5 managers. And the reaction towards my news was different. I mean, some congratulated me, but during the game towards the 6 months, I was being bullied. I dealt with the maternal wall bias where I was perceived differently because I made that announcement saying that I was pregnant. It happens to women. It happens to women when they announce that they are a mother, or it happens to women when they announce that they are pregnant. People don't realize that these microaggressions towards women, bullying towards women, that it can lead to a person or mother losing their child. And I was fortunate enough that it didn't happen to me, but what did happen was when I was about 6 months pregnant, I was told by the doctor that I need to do something with my health because I was dealing with a risky hypertension, which isn't only impactful for myself, but also for my son. And it was the result out of bullying. It was the result out of the devaluing me in the workplace, but also dehumanizing myself in the workplace. And when my son was born, I realized that I'm not only putting a human being in this world, but what am I going to tell him if he comes to me or his dad when he is dealing with challenges in the workplace where he's not accepted, where he's not tolerated? What message would I share with him? And if I'm sharing that message, how come that I'm not applying it towards myself? So I looked myself in the mirror and I left that workplace because I had that obligation towards my son. My son saved me. I sometimes call kids have a weird way or a good way to share wisdom. They have these Yoda moments or these Optimus Prime moments where they are sharing a story or nudging you into a different direction so that you can save yourself. And my son saved my life practically. So that's when I decided to become a workplace wellness advocate. And I use workplace wellness as a Trojan horse to have the conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and to inspire people to do better. And I'm on that mission right now.
That was my next question. So you've defined inclusive workplace wellness advocate. Can you just give a little bit more what that consists of so people understand?
I can. So workplace wellness, I look at the holistic variant where you look at the holistic version of the employee sustainability. And what do I mean by that? Well, it can be mental well-being, it can be financial well-being, it can be physical well-being, but it can also be a career well-being, because one of the things that came out of the Gallup research was if people are happy in the work that they are doing, it also has an impact on their well-being in general. What I also look into is, I think, financial and social well-being as well. And all these aspects have an impact on their well-being in general. And the fact that I combine that with diversity, equity, and inclusion, because the fact that people are feeling excluded, it can impact their physical well-being, it can impact their mental well-being, it can impact their financial well-being, it can impact their career well-being. It has so many levels of impact where I want people to realize that when people are being excluded, when they are not being accepted, this is the outcome that companies need to be aware of, where it's costing them money.
That's what, I'm listening to you, and one word comes to my mind in everything you just outlined, the word productivity.
Exactly.
And it's such a key. I came out of the corporate world where I spent 25 years, and I kind of learned about branding and happiness and productivity, and the things, and it's so important. So important.
It is important,
Yeah.
definitely.
At this particular moment in time, what are you looking forward to? That's a loaded question. If you could.
What is the period perspective? Is it 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years?
We'll talk about 5 years down the road in a little bit, but what's coming up for you?
Yeah, so the most important thing that I'm working at the moment right now, besides supporting clients, is I am working really hard together with a team on the Amplify DEI Summit. So Amplify DEI is basically amplifying diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a summit to invite everybody from wherever they are in this journey to amplify their own journey when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. How did I started this initiative? It has to do with my son. So know that what happened last year in the States when it comes to George Floyd, here in the Netherlands, they did not share any trigger warning when they were showing that video over and over again, the shorter version of the 8 minutes. But I had to explain it to my son. And one time I was too late with switching over to a new channel. So my son saw that. He's biracial, his dad is Dutch. And we both saw on his face that he has a lot of questions. So he came to his dad, asked questions there. But I also realized I need to share my side of the story as well by sharing George Floyd died because of the color of his skin. And he looked upon me, he looked at me and shared, is anybody going to hurt you? That question,
wow.
That question being told by a 6-year-old, it shocked me, it paralyzed me. And a few days later, I noticed that Alexis Ohanian stepped down from Reddit. Alexis Ohanian is the co-founder of Reddit, but I think the majority of the people know him as the partner of Serena Williams. And he made space for somebody else. He made space for diversity because he wanted to be able to be part of the solution. He wanted to be able to answer his daughter by saying, I did this, when his daughter has questions. And unfortunately, I don't have that budget, but what I do have is a huge network. And I also have that same mission. I also want to be able to share to my son that because of you, we created a ripple effect, and we united people who believe in the same mission, who believe in the same dream, but also are longing for that inclusive workplace. And it's very easy for me to do because I know a lot of people and I have this geeky side of me where I can put things in place. I don't collect Prada or bags. I collect tools, IT tools, etc. That's my investment. And if there is a way to create a stage for people to speak up, but also create a stage where people can feel inspired when it comes to DEI, share real stories by real people. That's what I did. So Amplify DEI, it's for the people, by the people, and it's about inspiring people with micro actions. So how can you amplify DEI within your own comfort zone?
And just to remind the viewers here, I will be promoting this summit rather extensively because I believe in it, and
Thank you.
sharing it with Dr. Bachman at the Women's Health Institute and her team, because it's such a perfect fit. By the way, you had mentioned your son. I briefly saw him yesterday.
Yeah, he
He was a little
always
shy. He's shy.
well, he is shy, but he had his moment where he was wanting to play behind the scenes. In the majority of the episodes, I started doing that. I started Let's Humanize the Workplace around November 2019.
Wow.
And being the fact that it's around his bedtime, I made it an effort, made it a thing that I'm kissing him to sleep, kissing goodbye, wishing him well to go to sleep, because he's part of my life. And I wanted to portray that as well. So ever since then, most of the times he shows up, I kiss him, good night, and he goes to bed. And sometimes he feels a little bit funny. And yesterday was a little bit funny where he wanted to play around and see how people are reacting. So he has his moments where he's fooling around. But the majority of the time he also is inspired by the people he's seeing different people from all over the places, not realizing the impact that he has on a lot of people as well.
Right. When we were describing him and the state of a child, I was listening, and the words "pure innocence" popped into my head, and what a beautiful thing a young child is. It's pure innocence. And
no stress. Luckily, no stress.
No stress. It's just it's funny. I just became a grandfather, and
oh, congratulations!
Thank you. 4 weeks ago.
Wow.
4 weeks ago, actually, it's my granddaughter, her 4th week birthday. It's today. But they sent me a video, and I watched them about 50 times. It's only 15 seconds long, but now my son is kissing her, and for the first time, she really smiled. Because she was able to focus. But anyway, moving on. What should organizations know about the state of mothers in the workplace? They're pretty blind organizations, aren't they?
Well, it's not only the organization's fault. I mean, it's very easy to point our fingers at the organization, but we also have to realize that if we don't educate people from the inside out, you cannot expect them to know the rules of engagement when it comes to working mothers, right? I believe that, yes, do organizations have a role? Yes. Do people have a role? Yes. Do leaders have a role? Yes. But we also need to look into the mothers owning up their role as well. So everybody has a responsibility into this. And I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of the fact that mothers are leaving the workplace sooner than faster because they weren't supported by their leaders, they weren't supported by their co-workers, or they weren't supported by their spouses. And when we don't do that, we are losing talent. We are losing so much of ourselves. And I want to activate companies, I want to activate leaders, but I also want to activate, the working moms as well. Take ownership. Ask, what can your company do? Maybe there are provisions in the workplace or in the organization, but you don't know about it. It's somewhere hidden in the policies. Ask HR, ask your manager, or ask your team members, what can you do to still be part of the team, but work at different hours maybe?
Okay. Help the listeners understand what the maternal wall bias is.
Shall I share something about that?
Please.
Yeah. So the maternal wall bias is basically a bias where you are judging women because of the fact that they are a mother. So one of the things that my story, right? The moment that I shared that I was pregnant, that's a bias, but also how many women mention during their job interview, feel safe enough to mention that they are pregnant, or how many women feel safe enough that they are a new mom when they sign up for a new job, or if maybe a child is sick and that child becomes sick more often, the woman will be judged based upon that child being sick, or based upon, oh, you're not a good mom. But there's also another thing happening, and that to me is very detrimental, is that mothers are being left out when it comes to lactating. So mothers are sometimes being left out when it comes to providing a hygienic space for them to be able to provide food for their babies, for their young ones. Mothers sometimes have to hide in the cleaning closet and provide their baby milk there, or mothers have to hide in the restroom, which is the worst of the worst, because would you eat your 4-star Michelin dinner there? Would you eat it there? You wouldn't.
Wow.
That's the worst place to produce food. That's the worst place to eat food. So why are we not providing moms the right spaces so that they can, don't feel stressed when they are producing? Because the majority of the time, when they don't have a safe space, a space where they can relax so that they can produce and then come to work, they get stressed, and that stress can cause them to stop earlier with lactating, but also can cause them to feel more worried about their kid. And the best thing that you can give your child is mother's milk. But if that's not possible, there are alternatives. But the last thing that you want to do is stress a mother out and making her feel guilty for the fact that she's not delivering.
So it's kind of easy for an employer to fix this, isn't it?
It is easy. There are different solutions to support a mom. There are ways that you can invest in a special place, but there are also pods. So special rooms, mobile rooms, where you can provide that safety, that space, where they can use the room for maybe 10 to 15 minutes or so and relax and do their thing.
Okay. One quick off-topic question, which I think you'll smile. I'm going to make you smile.
Yes. Okay.
It's off topic. I always like to ask this because it's kind of it's an interesting question. So, Vivian,
okay,
excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend the day with. And you can pass the question by. It's kind of a random.
Yeah. I have to think about her name, but there is this lady who died in the United States, and she was a huge actress in Roots. I have to look. I'm looking on my phone.
Cecily Tyson?
See. Yeah.
Right? Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know my stuff.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Perfect.
I would like to have a one-on-one conversation with Cecily Tyson, and because she is a really strong role model, and the fact that the world lost her last year, painful, but I'm glad that she is honored. I'm glad that she is in so many movies, that I can pass that torch on towards my son. Look at her. She's a strong mother. She's a strong woman as well.
Yeah. I actually met her for a couple of seconds, story a long time ago. She was coming out of a play in the city, and I was kind of hanging out, and we kind of crossed the paths. But anyway, moving along, which actually, this is a good segue. What's the most important thing that I should know about you?
Besides my love for food, I think it's important to know about me is why I wear my headscarf. There is a reason for it. The reason is it's a way for me to honor my Ghanaian culture, but it's also a reason for me to stay close to my gran who passed away in 2009. So it's about honoring my roots, but it's also honoring my present. It's also honoring my future as well.
That's great. That's great. Uh, it's funny. You had asked this question yesterday to the panel,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna re-ask it to you.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think I mentioned in my monologue, I did jump into a panel yesterday to
Mm-hmm.
get a better understanding and feel. Like I said, you had panelists from literally all over the world who were
Mm-hmm.
discussing. But you did ask this question. In 5 years from now, the workplace should be blank.
Yeah. In 5 years from now, I hope that with the impact that we are creating now, the seeds that we are planting now, that a lot of people can reap from that, and that more and more companies realize that there is a social benefit, but also a financial benefit in creating more inclusive workplaces.
Okay. In your memory bank, how have some, because you're involved so much in this, and that's what you do, but how have
Mm-hmm.
some companies supported working mothers during the pandemic?
Some companies have provided flexibility where they allow, the moms to, take care of the kids during the day and find different time slots to work. Some companies divide the workload amongst the team as well. And some companies also have shared free hours. So maybe instead of, they have maybe a 40-hour work week or 50-hour work week in the US. But let's say a 40-hour work week where instead of making them spend the 40 hours full time, supporting them with maybe 5 hours and let them work 35 hours as well to loosen the pressure.
Right.
But also involving the kids. I've seen companies giving small gifts or a nice token towards the kids, saying that, during this pandemic, your mom or dad are different. They are all working from home, but we want to give you something special so that because you are a part of our team, you are a part of our company. And that's a great way to involve kids in this conversation as well.
That's great. Really great.
Yeah.
I know you have a ton of stuff on your plate and you have to run. It's only early morning here, but different there. One final question for this. By the way, I'm officially inviting you back here. We didn't even discuss.
I've already said yes.
Whenever you can put panels together and
yes.
we can do it through this channel. The channel is growing. I guess that's a gratification from that. It's growing. You can put anything together and you want to use this little platform. Hey, anytime.
Yeah.
Because I'm always around and I'm so thrilled that we met. So the
Likewise.
last, truly, in the last, I love this question, and actually it came from you, so I'm not pretending.
Okay.
But what song motivates you? What song motivates you to keep
yes.
on advocating?
My theme song for at the moment is Bigger. And the reason why is I have to look up the lyrics, but Bigger by Beyonce. And I will, if you have a moment, I will look up the lyrics because I don't know all the lyrics by heart.
No, you go right ahead. I'm here all day.
It starts with, if you feel insignificant, you better think again. better wake up because you're part of something bigger. You're part of something way bigger,
Wow.
not a speck in the universe, not just some words in a Bible verse. You are the living word. Yes, you're part of something way bigger, bigger than you, bigger than we, bigger than the picture they framed us to see. But now we see it. It ain't no secret now. We're part of something way bigger.
Wow.
It's even better when Beyonce sings it, but I
bet.
like this beginning phase because it has given me so much strength. The work that I'm doing, it's not, it's not a honeymoon job. It's a job where you have to have grit. You have to have a lot of patience. You have to have understanding, but you sometimes will also bump heads with people. And her music, especially this song, has empowered me to be able to bungee jump, but also to be able to recharge myself when I'm facing challenges with the work that I'm doing.
When we're done,
Mm-hmm.
my musical tastes, unfortunately, have me back in the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
where I came from.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice time. The world was changing. But when we're done, I promise you I'm going to
I'm
YouTube.
going to share that link with you. Another song that I really like is A Change Is Gonna Come. Whether it's the version of Sam Cooke or whether it's the version of Leela James, it's all about let us embrace the change because a change will come. Sometimes soon, sometimes later than sooner, but the change will come.
That's great. And what a way to wind down and for me to thank you for this. And I always and I'm actually thanking the universe for having introduced us,
Mm-hmm.
because the work you do is amazing. Listening
Thank
to
you.
you, and you're amazing.
Thank you.
And it's been completely educational for me, and I want to head down that path anyway. I'm trying to head down that path, and to share this and to share you with an audience and to keep promoting it. And I thank you. Come back anytime. And of course, I'm saying that we will be promoting the summit that you're hosting in September.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thank you, Vivian.
I am grateful. Thank you, Calvin, for this
Right, so-
conversation.
yes, so you be well. We'll be in touch.